Assalamu alaikum. I think this is my first occasion in this beautiful hotel, beautiful arrangements, and certainly my first outing as far as Roshan digital account is concerned in Oman. Not as far as my career is concerned. I've studied it very deeply. I first of all like to congratulate Kwan Saab and Kambar Saab. Is Mr. Kambar here?
Thank you.
From Bank Al Habib and other distinguished guests. There's so many distinguished guests sitting here, not least from the Pakistan Embassy, my worthy colleagues, the Defense Attaché and Councillor Amjad. I see Mr. Sumar sitting here, but that's where I'll stop because my vision is not that good anymore. So first things first. First thing is that this account is very important. It should not be seen in isolation. This is part of the general effort of the government of Pakistan as well as the state of Pakistan to reach out to overseas Pakistanis and do things which in their mind would facilitate things for overseas Pakistanis. So, if you look holistically, then it started with online ID cards. Then we went on to online visas. Paper visas were finished. And then the Roshan digital account, which is conjoined. It's something that is conjoined with the Naya Pakistan certificates. And it's also a conjoined function with investing in the stock market of Pakistan. I'm not a banker, but it's part of my job to interact with the overseas Pakistani community, so I keep on hearing things. If I make technical mistakes, I'm entitled to that. So please forgive me for that. So it's not something, it's not a tarana that can be listened to in isolation. So it's part of an overall drive by the government of Pakistan. Initial response, as far as I know, has been pretty good. Would the figure of $3.5 billion, $3.7 billion, maybe 3,700 Roshan digital accounts, if I'm not wrong, my figures are not exact, somewhere around that. And something that is ongoing. So I think it's been a success already, but because you're here, it means that you want more publicity, more cooperation by our outposts in creating more accounts and really making this a success. So it's a success. I represent the government of Pakistan, so I can't keep on harping that it's a success. It's for the success or failure of any overseas initiative. There's only one person who can testify to it. That is the overseas Pakistani himself. The opinion in all aspects related to Pakistan's foreign economic or other policies for overseas Pakistanis should come from them. So I'll leave the judgment to them. Maybe we'll get some insight into it. There's one thing I must say, as a public policy individual, as a government servant, but also as somebody who, when he comes on the mic, has to state the truth. One thing which the state of Pakistan needs to reconsider is that whenever you hear the word overseas, do not equate it. On the left hand side you have word overseas and is equal to sign, and on the right side you have online. the welfare of the overseas Pakistanis is not directly congruent to online systems. In some cases it is, in some cases it isn't, and that depends on the character and the configuration of the diaspora and the region you are talking about. So what is true in Northern America will not be true in Europe. What is true in Europe will not be true in the Gulf. What is true in the Gulf might not be true in other areas where Pakistanis are in a majority. So I have always been of the opinion that there are huge swaths of the Pakistani community that want to see somebody who is wearing the emblem of the government of Pakistan meeting them on an old, I hope it works here, on an old platform like a window, which we think is obsolete, smiling and restoring his faith in the state of Pakistan. So whenever we think of welfare, we should not confuse it. Of course, it's incredible. Let me tell you a story from Nadra days. When Nadra was not as great an organization as it is today, I think it was Musharraf's Pakistan, President Musharraf's Pakistan, or maybe even earlier than that. So Nadra used to make horrendous mistakes. Nadra used to write a Mr. as a Mrs. It used to write Virginia, United Kingdom, and all that, and we used to laugh it off. But the good thing that Nadra did is it got feedback loops again and again. So through feedback loops, today Nadra's credibility, but it has taken how many years? 15 years, 20 years. Nadra is a very credible organization. But if we do not realize that systems have to be improved through feedback, we'll never be able to improve them in the first. So we must consider this. So what has happened? The feedback loop on the Roshan digital account is that initially the customer service representatives of various banks, let's not go into banks, of the account did not know which part of the clock are they calling. They would probably call somebody in the US in the middle of the night, somebody in Europe at an unearthly hour, but then they learned. They learned, and eventually now the calls come at the right time. So we learned from that mistake. The slogan was 48 hours. You make Roshan Digital in 48 hours. There were months when, through snags in the system, it used to take a week, but it's gone back, and I'm so glad that it's back to 48 to 96 hours. The thing that I want to say is that because I represent Pakistan and Oman, if you look holistically at the Pakistani community in Oman, so if the 230,000, you equate them to 100, I'll be very honest with you. Out of this 100, probably 10 to 15% of the Pakistani diaspora in Oman can fill out a Roshan digital account. I'm not saying they won't do it. They will do it because of the obvious advantages, the interest rate, the Naya Pakistan certificate, the stock market, as the wonderful lady just said, a car, ease of things. But they'll have to go to somebody else to do it for them. The form will have to be filled by somebody else. You will have to give your passport, your identity card data, and other things to other people. So, although it might answer as a counter to the mantra that everything has to be online, I leave it to the professionals Yes, I'm a professional as far as community affairs are concerned, and I'm very good at that. However, I don't know, I'm sure you have done banking research and other things. Maybe this account will get a fill up in this country and other countries of the Middle East, and may I say so, more so in Europe. The Pakistani diaspora in Europe has lesser, you will be surprised, sir, has lesser literacy levels than the Pakistani diaspora in Oman. Because there is a context to that. And until you know the context, you can't find solutions. So maybe if you suggest so, and if the State Bank of Pakistan thinks it's appropriate, the government of Pakistan thinks it's appropriate, we can open Roshan digital windows. I can flood my embassy with things on the account, but to put my credibility as an officer, as a diplomat at stake, I need to deliver. Whenever the complaints come, one of our best officers, two of our best officers are here. One of them is the Counselor for Visa Affairs. I knew it before I came to this country. I protested against the online visa system. Look, I'm honest enough to criticize my own self. Officers like me designed it. Most of the people to fill the online visa form in Oman have to again go to third agencies, third parties. So we should have left the two streams together for 10 years. But we didn't. We wanted to get on the bandwagon of the online mantra bandwagon very quickly. So whatever you want, my officers and I and this Pakistani community will do its utmost to make this already successful account more successful. It's good for Pakistan. It's certainly good for the Pakistani community here. I think it's very good. But these things, the form, the filling up, and there's something like I think 1 or 2% of the people are here. I have to be in Pakistan to do certain transactions and others. But that I leave to the professionals. I thought I'd be called in the end. You called me in the beginning. But the most important thing for me, and I'm sure for this government, is honesty across the table. More than platitudes and taranas, honesty of purpose is the biggest attribute if we want to take the state of Pakistan, of which overseas Pakistanis are the most important component. We'll have to be honest. And I just gave you some of the honest feedback that I get as a diplomatic representative. And this is not about Oman. My shoes are not dry. Most of it relates to my experience in Europe and North America. So therefore, put these things in, tell us what to do, and if it's a success, we'll make it into a rolling success.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Excellency.